Well, good evening to all of you. I've heard people say many times a lesson that you can view in one's life is more powerful than just the words that one can speak. And standing before you this evening is a lesson on procrastination. That if you wait too late to line people up for the Wednesday night devotionals, you have to do them yourself. That's one lesson. Here's the second lesson. I read this in an article, a bulletin I should say. This article was in a bulletin a few weeks ago. And really thought about it. And after reading it, a couple of the points especially that I'll emphasize, is something that I put to the side and definitely wanted to read over and over, and thought it would make for a good devotional talk this evening. It's titled, Your Influence. It's written by a gentleman named Lance Cordell. I do not personally know him, but I trust this congregation where this bulletin comes from. And the words that he said are powerful just the same. Your influence can and will be good or bad. Your influence can last for years through your works and your children. Your influence can reach someone for Christ who may not be influenced by any other Christians. There's a sermon I preached here some years ago. I titled it, You Never Mentioned Him to Me. And a point that I like to make in that sermon, or evangelism sermons like it, is there are some people that are going to avoid certain Christians just because of who they are. Maybe the preacher, for example. There's no doubt people in this world that you can influence that no one else in this building has the opportunity or ability to influence. Your influence can be the most stabilizing factor in the life of your child. Now, this is the reason I kept this article. Because following it up, when he said your influence can be the most stabilizing factor in the life of your child, he said your influence can be the most destabilizing factor in the life of your child. Think about that. Your influence can be the stress reducer that your mate needs, but he follows it up by saying your influence can be the stress producer that results in a lifetime of resentment and heartache. Your influence can be a silent instructor causing someone to follow Christ. Your influence can be felt throughout your neighborhood and community because of your humble acts of kindness. If I were to ask you to picture the neighbors living near you that you know, whether in the church or not isn't the point at this particular time, but you know they'd be right there to help you if you need something. And you know that according to world standards and morals, they're doing good. Some of them, hopefully they are New Testament Christians. But you know your neighbors, you know which ones to reach out to and which ones to avoid. What kind of neighbor are you? Your influence can be seen every day. Your influence can be built and strengthened over many years. Here's another one that really stood out to me. Your influence can be ruined by one foolish act and forever harmed. Your influence can be mingled with the influence of others for good or bad. Your influence can be good even if someone reacts negatively to you or hurts you. How we respond to people says so much about us. Do good unto all, Matthew chapter 7 and verse 12. Your influence can be present after you leave an area physically in the form of good memories with those whom you touched. Your influence can be controlled by you and only you. Your influence will live on after you're gone from this life. Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 4, Abel being dead still speaks. We're a light of the world. We're the salt of the earth. We need to shine brightly and season this earth. 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 12, having your conduct honorable among the Gentiles, that when they speak against you as evildoers, they may, by your good works, which they observe, glorify God in the day. Now here's the thought as our song leader gets ready to lead us in our song of encouragement. Regardless of your influence, some are going to think one way or the other about you. But ultimately, what's most important is what God knows about us. And that's the one that we will stand before in judgment. He is the one that we will stand before in judgment. Are you prepared this very evening by your faithfulness to God to stand before him in judgment? And are you letting that influence others as you try to help them to go to heaven just the same? If we can help you in any way this evening to make preparation for death and eternity, please come as we stand and as we sing.